So what's up you guys? Welcome back to our channel. I am Janeline Gabriel R. Louie and I am from BC7MA. So pag-uusapan natin ngayon ang HCI or Human-Computer Interaction. So ano nga ba ang Human-Computer Interaction? It is the study of how people interact with computers and technology. It focuses on understanding the ways humans use and experience computers, digital, and software. So, sa pamamagitan ng HCI is napapadali natin ang pag-access sa isang technology. So, ang HCI daw ay linked to design field known as interaction design or user-centered design. Ang focus nito is how to make computer technology simple, usable, and enjoyable to use. So, usable or usability, kailangan efficient, effective, and satisfaction. So what do we mean by efficient? So, efficient, kailangan hindi mo na kailangan mag-exert ng too much effort or too much time. So, magiging effective yung result nun and that will lead to satisfaction. So, dadako naman tayo sa evolution of HCI. To access early computers, you need to be trained or skilled. So, kailangan may alam ka sa mga computers noon. So, bago mo siya ma-access, kailangan is knowledgeable ka na doon. Kasi mahirap siya i-figure out. Alam naman natin na malaki na ang pagkakaiba ng computers noon at ngayon. So, ang early computers kasi is mas mabagal and have limited time processing power. Unlike ngayon is madami nang nagagawa ang computers natin and also mas mabilis na and mas malaki na ang storage. So, in terms of size naman, early computers were bigger and kumpara naman sa computer natin ngayon is maninipis na lamang siya. So, parang panipisan na lang ata ngayon. Hindi katulad noon is pakapalan or palakihan. Example nito is ENIAC 1940s or also known as Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, which is the world's first computer. So, in early 1980s naman, HCI emerged as an attempt to understand how and why computers could be made more user-friendly. So, mas naging mahalaga ang HCI kasi na-realize ng mga tao kung gaano kahirap ang paggamit ng computers o ng technology. So, sa pamamagitan ng HCI, na-figure out natin kung paano naging mapadali or mas napadali ang paggamit ng computer and naging mas user-friendly siya. So, meaning kahit hindi ka techie na tao is ma-access mo siya or magagamit mo siya without needing to have a handbook or kung anumang instructions or books na pwede mo magamit regarding about sa knowledge about sa computer. Isa pa is, sa pamamagitan ng HCI is, naging enjoyable ang paggamit ng computer. So, syempre, mas napapadali, hindi mo na kailangang isipin kung paano nga ba ang susunod mong gagawin once na ginamit mo ito. So, dadako naman tayo sa importance of HCI. So, number 1, it will make the user's experience more enjoyable. Sabi ko nga kanina is, ang HCI ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit nagiging enjoyable ang paggamit ng isang technology or device. So, pangalawa is, it prevent goods or projects to fail because with the help of HCI, the product or the project is designed better. So, number 3 is make software more intelligible and useful for everyone. Meaning, kahit hindi ka ganun ka-techies, like what I've said earlier, is ma-access mo siya or magagamit mo siya without having or without being confused on how to use the technology or the device. So, tapos na tayo sa importance of HCI. So, dadako naman tayo sa 5 applications of HCI. So, number 1 is everyday life. Alam naman natin na malaki na ang parte ng teknolohiya sa ating buhay or sa ating pang-araw-araw. Example nito is kapag pagkagising sa umaga, diba? Imbis na mag-toothbrush or maghilamos mo na is cellphone agad. Tingin muna sa message. Baka nag-message na ang So, di ba? Well, hindi lang naman sa cellphone nangyayari or na-apply ang HCI. So, nagagamit din natin or na-apply din natin ito kapag nag-withdraw tayo. Like, di ba sa ATM machine? Well, isa ito sa mga teknolohiya na na-apply ang HCI. Another one is, kapag sa trend, bibili tayo ng mga ticket, nakukuha natin yung ticket sa mga selling machine, and also, if pag nag-crave ka bigla ng coffee or hot choco, di ba may mga tindahan na may vending machine, so yun, nakakapag-interact tayo without needing or having to possess a computer. So, number 2 naman is industry and business. So, alam naman natin, di ba, na ang mga company minsan, ang pinakapuhunan nila is technology or computers. So, example nito is yung mga telecommunication o kaya naman ay ang mga call center. So, napansin ko lang na mas nagiging productive ang isang staff kapag maayos and user-friendly ang mga system na ginagamit nila. So, syempre, mas nagiging productive sila kasi maayos. Hindi na nila kailangan isipin, paano ba gagamitin itong bagay na ito? Kung paano ba gagamitin itong technology or device na ito. Number 3 naman is accessibility. Dapat hindi lang functional but also accessible to those who have impairments. So, example is kapag may motor impairments yung isang tao. Mas okay siguro kung may voice command. So, hindi niya na kailangan i-interact or hindi niya na kailangan gumamit ng kanyang limbs or kahit anong parte ng katawan niya. So, kailangan niya na lang magsalita and ma-activate or magpapagana niya yung isang technology or isang device. So, siguro ang great example nito is ang Google, like si Alexa. Like, Alexa, play ganito, ganyan. Diba? Ang social. So, pag tinatamad ka, isara yung bintana. Yung kurtina. Pag tinatamad ka, Alexa, close the curtains. Oh, taray. Emila. So, number 4 naman tayo. So, users who are untrained. So, everyday software is much more user-friendly and hindi na siya komplikado. Unlike noon, di ba? So, sabi ko nga kanina, kailangan mo pang maging skilled or trained para ma-access yung mga computers. Unlike ngayon is kahit hindi ka masyadong techie is maintindihan mo agad or accessible siya agad. So, mas madaling magamit and hindi ka ignorante sa paggamit ng technology or devices. So, last but not the least is number 5, other applications. So, VR is a great example of HCIs because it shows how human and technology can work together in immersive and innovative ways. So, diba, pag VR, computer-generated yung environment na makikita mo, pero parang totoo. So, example niyan is yung mga laro, like, kung makikita nyo sa SM, yung mga VR, tapos nakaupo ka sa isang upuan na kinokontrol. So, parang feeling mo nandun ka talaga, pero wala ka talaga doon. So, ganun. So, yun lang naman ang 5 applications of human-computer interaction.
Yeah. Yo. Boom! It's your boy Harry back at it again with another vlog. Ngayon pag-uusapan natin is parang straight out from a sci-fi movie. And that is human augmentation. So, ano bang hintayin natin? Human augmentation, guys. Human augmentation is parang basically RL hacks for humans. Like parang naka-cheat code dito, guys. First things on the list, exoskeletons. Siguro yung mga bibigyating example ng exoskeleton is parang si Tony Stark or mala Robocop, kung saan nakasuot ka ng suit na parang nagbibigay sa'yo ng extra strength or kaya mo pa rin maglakad kahit injury ka. So, perfect po sa mga constructions, athletes, or let's say seniors, like super cool, diba? Next things on the list, prosthetic limbs. Not the usual prosthetic limbs kung saan na parang sinusuot mo na lang siya. Sinusuot lang. Pero ito, more on a super advanced type. Like, para siyang legit arms or legs na, like, na connected sa utak mo. You can move them na parang totoong tunay body parts na talaga. Like, pag kumuha ka ng isang bagay, parang, alam mo yun, totoong kamay mo na. Or totoong legs mo na yung gumagana. So, yun. Super mind-blowing. So, next things on the list, Brain-Computer Interface or BCI. Ito naman is parang talagang straight out from a sci-fi movie na yung brain plus computer parang connected talaga siya. So, yun. Imagine controlling gadgets or even robots, guys, na parang gamit lang yung utak mo. Parang alam mo yun? Mga telekinesis types. Telekinesis types na parang di mo na kailangan pumindot or gumamit ng mga buttons para lang makakontrol ang bagay. Ito, can control things or gadgets by gamit lang yung utak mo. So, yun. So, yun yung parang tatlong examples ng human augmentation. So, that is it, guys. Peace. Let's go.
Welcome everyone. Today we will explore human augmentation and how it helps us to enhance our abilities. We will focus on the three main types: replicating, supplementing, and exceeding human abilities. Human augmentation refers to the use of technology to enhance human capabilities. It can make many forms, from physical devices to biological enhancements. Let's break down the three main types. First is the replicating human ability. Replicating human ability means using technology to mimic what humans can do naturally. This type of augmentation helps those with disabilities regain basic function of improves their quality of life. Second is the human ability. This type of enhancements or complements human abilities without completely replacing them. Supplementing human ability can improve productivity, health monitoring, and learning. It empowers individuals to make better decisions and enhance their physical and mental performance, promoting overall well-being. The third types of human augmentation is the exceeding human ability. This type involves technology that allows humans to surpass their natural limitation. Exceeding human ability has the potential to transform industry and solve complex problems. It can lead to breakthrough in the areas like medicine, space exploration, artificial intelligence, fundamentally altering our understanding of human potential. Overall, each type of human augmentation address different needs and challenges. Together, they contribute to our future where technology enhances human life, fostering independence, improving performance, and opening the new frontiers in human capability.
Hi guys, we will discuss the model group. I'm Vic Zigaro, and we will discuss about AI.
Hey Quixie, what is AI?
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is the practice of computer recognition, reasoning, and action. It is all about bestowing machines the power of simulating human behavior, notably cognitive capacity. However, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science are all related to each other.
Alright, how about prefacing artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence help improve accuracy, adaptability, and productivity. Business leaders are looking for ways to use AI to make their operations smarter and valuable.
I want to learn more about AI capabilities.
Sure, I will give you some of its branches. Number 1. Machine learning. Machine learning is a rapidly growing field with companies frequently releasing new products that use machine learning techniques and algorithms to deliver creative solutions to consumers. Second one, neural network. AI is widely used in industries like media, new media, and automated journalism, and in banking for chatbots, mobile banking, fraud detection, and customer engagement. Lastly, robotics. Robotics is a rapidly growing field of AI focused on designing and build robots.
Hello guys, it's me again, Aldrich Kuray from BC7 Let's talk about the branches of artificial intelligence of AI capabilities. First, natural language processing or NLP. NLP is a method that deals in searching, analyzing, understanding, and deriving information from the text form of data. So, common example naman ng NLP, yung spam detection. Na-utilize nito yung mga Google Mail, naman yung expert system. Expert system are considered the first successful model of AI software. They were designed in the 1970s and escalated after in the 1980s by defining expert system under AI technology. So, expert system, it refers to a computer system that mimic the decision-making intelligence of human expert. Lastly, fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic is a technique that modifies uncertain, inaccurate information by measuring the degree to which hypothesis is correct. This is used to assist in imitation of human thought logic.
A pleasant day to everyone, especially to you, Sir Letty. I hope you have a good day. Again, I'm Kyla May Chelsea Nana, and I'm gonna explain my part of the presentation. And today, our topic is the important aspect of prototype in the field of human-computer interaction. So, why do we think that prototype is important? Well, for me, prototype is important because it is the early version of our product between the abstract ideas and tangible reality. First is the visualization. From the world itself, visualize, like ano siya, parang imagination, kung ano yung possible itsura ng prototype mo, gaano nga ba ito kalaki, anong color, texture, credibility neto. Also, visualization can help us, especially designer, to see how the final product might look like. Second one, interactivity. Interactive or interact to your prototype. And this time, you might see the flaws because nakafocus ka eh. Makikita mo yung mga mali, ang mga hindi dapat isama. Third one is feedback gathering. Para lang siyang research. This is, para magsasurvey kayo, para makuha natin ang feedback nila, like, kung ano ba yung mga pwedeng gawin sa prototype. Ano pa yung pwedeng idagdag o tanggalin, especially the design and usability. We need other people's feedback before we pull out our final product for much better outcome. Kasi baka ang iba may nakikita silang mali or pangit sa gawa natin, habang tayo di natin nakikita yun. Kasi nga gawa natin, syempre. Pag gawa natin, iisipin agad natin, maganda yan, gawa natin yan eh. Diba? 4. Early testing, also known as the trial and error. Ito yung pinaka-best way na dapat natin gawin before anything else. Example, we need to test our system first. Not only once, twice, but more than that. We need to prevent kasi yung on-the-spot training. Iba kasi takot gawin yung system kasi baka mag-error. At least, if we do early testing, maagapan pa natin agad-agad kung sakaling mag-error man. And after that, we can confidently present our system to everyone. Kasi alam mo, nag-early testing ka na. So, hindi na siya basta mag-error. And ang system is okay na okay. 5 is the iterative design. Improving design based on feedback. Example, dito na papasok yung mga guys ng design from client. Like nung graphics and visual days namin. Nag-interview kami kung anong klaseng design ang gusto ng client for their brochure, flyers, and all of that are based on clients lang. Based on clients' wants. And yun ang susundin at ginawa namin hanggang sa satisfy namin sila. Parang ganun lang din ang iterative design. For the number 6, there are two types of prototypes, the low fidelity and high fidelity. So when we say low fidelity, ito yung mga hindi pa kagandahan o kaayusan. Hindi pa maayos. Yung mga hindi pa siya ganun ka-detailed. Best example is the sketch prototype. Kagaya namin, halimbawa, ng thesis namin. Ang gagawin namin halimbawa is machine. And while we are in the meeting, nag-brainstorm kami and syempre, nag-sketch kami kung anong itsura ba ng machine na prototype na gagawin namin. At ayun, sketch-sketch lang, hindi pa ganun kaayos. While for high fidelity naman, syempre, mas detailed, mas maayos na siya. Parang halimbawa, coded system na siya. Parang ganun lang siya. And yun lang guys. I hope may natutunan kayo for today's vlog. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Kayla May Chelsea Nana. By the way, don't forget to subscribe.
So, hello everyone. I'm Danisi Cobon from BC7M. So, the topic that I will discuss is about fidelity and low fidelity. So, what is fidelity and low fidelity? Fidelity is used to describe the level of detail and accuracy of a prototype or a system. So, for low fidelity movies, a simple version, pure features ng representation, design and functionality ng isang system. So, we have 3 examples of low fidelity. We have sketches, paper prototype, and click-through prototype. Sa sketches is a hand-drawn or digital sketches. So, it's one of the basic form of low fidelity. Mas focus siya sa layout and structure ng user interface. So, sa paper prototype naman is made from cut out shapes or printed images. Is a physical manipulating the paper like tapping or flipping. So for click-through prototype, it's more realistic on how the app or website will function, and you can create a click-through prototype using Invision or Figma. So that's it for the low fidelity. So for the continuation of this topic, we shall discuss about high fidelity.
Hi learners! My name is Michelle Lucy Colandog, and ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon ay isa sa part ng human-computer interaction, which is the type and fidelity of a prototype. Ang i-discuss ko ngayon ay ang high-fidelity prototype. The definition of it is the high-fidelity prototypes are more aesthetically pleasing and their function is closer to the final product. High-fidelity prototypes are more advanced than their low-fidelity counterparts. They are more aesthetically pleasing and their function is closer to the final product. You'll typically create high-fidelity prototypes further along this design process once a team has a firm grasp of what they want to finish product to embody. Meaning, yung high-fidelity prototypes po ay mas advanced siya kaysa sa low fidelity, kasi yung low fidelity prototype ay sketches lang na merong pinapakitang lines, yung wireframes na ginagamit sa low fidelity, which is parang 2D lang siya at hindi interactive. Parang sketch lang talaga siya ng mismong system na gagawin nyo. So, kung mas gusto niyo ng interactive at may function na talaga, which is yun yung gagamitin nyo, the high fidelity prototype. Sa high fidelity prototypes, meron tayong 3 example dyan. First, the interactive prototypes. Ang meaning ng interactive prototypes is interactive prototypes are more advanced version of a click-through prototype that you can create using a prototyping application that support interactive but only medium fidelity visual design. In a sense, they are the culmination of the process of sketching, then creating papers, prototypes, or click-through prototypes. Meaning lang po ng interactive prototypes ay katulad ng website po or mobile application na kapag meron, di ba sa website, may mga menu tab doon, tapos pag kinlik mo yun, mapupunta ka sa multiple screens or pages. Yun yung sinasabi nating click-through. So, pag pinindot mo yun, mapupunta ka sa mga ano na yun. Tapos, sa interactive prototypes din, nandun pa rin yung makikita mo yung animation or effects ng bawat buttons doon. So, mas magiging responsive talaga siya sa mga users kahit na prototypes pa lang siya. The next one is the digital prototypes. The meaning of it is to create with prototyping softwares. The most common type of high fidelity prototype is a digital prototype that is developed using prototyping software that lets UX designer create aesthetically rich, interactive, and even animated prototypes of a user interface that is almost ready for implementation. So, dito naman sa digital prototyping, gumagamit tayo ng mga software like WordPress, Figma, mga Adobe, ganun, na mas madali nating madidesign yung ating system or yung application na ginagawa natin. Super interactive na to kasi yung software na to is ready-made na software for developing website or application. So, ang kinaganda nito is i-design mo na lang yung mismong website or application nyo at nandun na rin yung mga functions nun. Clickable na siya, interactive, tapos i-connect mo na lang yun sa database kung gagawa man din kayo ng database na para sa system or application nyo. Yun lang. The next and the last one is the coded HTML CSS prototypes. The meaning of it is creating a coded prototype is more complex because it requires the UX designer or the prototyper to know how to code. These prototypes are the closest to final design of a product and are best option for generating user feedback. Dito naman sa coded, syempre, kung sa digital, magdi-design lang tayo at di-design lang, yun lang gagawin natin. Tapos nandun na yung mga function, wala ka nang i-code. Minimal lang ganun, minimal lang coding. Pero dito sa coded, ikaw mismo yung magko-code ng interface na gagawin mo sa application mo, which is dapat alam mo kung paano mag-code. Ang example dito is yung application or software na Android Studio, which is magko-code tayo from the scratch para makagawa tayo ng application. Yung pages nun, i-code natin, ganito, ganyan. Pero ang kagandahan dun, sobrang lapit na niya sa final design or final output. So, ang gagawin na lang nito, i-produce na lang, parang ganun. Mas maganda rin tong coded prototype kasi nga, pag i-generate natin to the user feedback, pag kailangan natin ng i-generate yung user feedback, pwede nating ipagamit yung mismong application natin through sa devices na ng mga magbi-feedback. So, super feedback friendly siya, gano'n. Overall naman ang high fidelity prototype is more engaging, interactive, tapos detailed na siya at sobrang lapit na sa pinaka final product, kaya mas maganda itong gamitin if madami tayong time. Reminder lang na ang pagpili ng fidelity in prototypes, depende yan sa time mo kung hanggang saan yung due date ng pasahan ng system nyo. Kasi ang high fidelity prototype is time consuming talaga siya kasi kailangan mo talaga mag-exert ng time and effort para mas gumanda ang iyong website or application. So, yun lang ang ating lesson for today. So, bye learners! Thank you for listening.